Carruth.
Well, a spirited run for young Jimmy Vasser, but it's all gone for naught. Over my shoulder there, working on the gearbox. First he lost 6th gear, now he has lost 5th gear. It was about the time for him to pit anyways, but now they're going to have to take a look at a very disjointed rear gearbox. Let's check in with Gary Gerould. Gary?
Jack, early problems for Christian Fittipaldi. Spent a considerable amount of time in the pits with the car locked in 2nd gear. They broke the shifting mechanism. They have now replaced it. He's back on the circuit, but he lost a lot of time.
Looking to and anticipating the stop by Teo Fabi, the current 2nd place car in the line. 20 laps are complete. There's the leader of the race, Michael Andretti. He has led every lap thus far.
The Ganassi team has had nothing but gearbox trouble all weekend. Brian Herta in their other car had to start in their 1994 car because of gearbox stops in the 95.
We mentioned at starting that the fuel window for a pit stop would be between laps 17 and 23. We've just completed the 21st lap, and here comes Teo Fabi into the pits. Gary?
Well, we take a look at this brand new team for Jerry Forsythe springing into action. They've been very impressive. As Stan pointed out, they were the only team that started on the optional tire in qualifying. Teo is excited about this team as anything we've heard him talk about in recent years. Flipping the throttle at 15 seconds. Now off to Jack Crowley. In about 16 and a half seconds, he's back on course, Paul.
So the first of the stops of the leaders, and that was 2nd place in and out of the pits. Watching very carefully that 80-mile-an-hour pit speed limit as most of the rest of the teams now begin to lay out equipment for the stops anticipated by their cars.
I hope people can realize how hard that 80 miles an hour limit is on these guys. Sometimes that's 1st and 2nd gear only, and here they are going fast all of the time in the race, and all of a sudden when they come out of the pits or go in, they really have to do 80 miles an hour. It's really difficult.
Remember, it was at this point 2 weeks ago in Miami that there was such a reshuffling of the lead that Jacques Villeneuve managed to sneak into the lead in the pits.
Yellow flag being waved there is for Buddy Lazier, who spun off just a few laps ago. His car is at the edge of the course. It was in a much more precarious position, but they have not gotten it back into the action, and so it sits just at the edge of the course. From the front nose of Bobby Rahal's car. Rahal currently runs in 8th place. Just ahead of him is Mauricio Guzman.
Rahal was looking terrific yesterday, Saturday, during the warm-ups, the practice session. But when it came time for qualifying, he had trouble with the electronics. The engine would not run right. He dropped way, way down. I think he might have been 3rd or 4th on the grid. He dropped way down and has now had to work his way all the way back up. I talked to Carl Hogan, his team owner, about what happened yesterday. Carl said, I was so angry, I just had to leave the track early. I couldn't stick around. I knew I'd blow up with somebody.
No, Carl just wanted to go to the beach. That's what it was. Little walk down the beach.
Look at this. 170, 180 miles an hour down the straightaway. That's what it looks like to the driver. What a beautiful shot.
Rahal was very happy with the outcome of Miami because as a championship contender, he finished 3rd. He looked down the list and he really thought that he had beaten the other people like Al Unser Jr. and Michael Andretti who could give him a run to the championship.
You can follow around the track here, Sam and Paul. 2 straightaways, pretty fast straightaways, into chicanes, down to the end, into other chicanes. That's a 90-degree corner to the left there.
Making the turn back up to the north now along the beach. The grandstands all around this track. Jam. The crowd here has been spectacular this weekend. The weather beautiful. Temperatures in the high 70s, low 80s all week long. We had one fairly heavy rain shower come through the other night, but nothing that's adversely affected the racing or the practice here.
That's Mauricio Guzman, one of the 6 Brazilians in the race, right ahead of Rahal now as this battle develops. There's a joke going around the pits. The Brazilians are called the Brazilian Air, because so many of them seem at least to have an awful lot of sponsorship money to spend in this series.
And a tremendous audience in Brazil, where most of the country will tune into the IndyCar races.
Over 10 million, I heard, tuned into the Miami race, in Brazil alone, that is.
So most of the cars making their stops, though Michael Andretti has not yet elected to come in. He's running on his 23rd lap. Jacques Villeneuve stays out as well and runs in 2nd place. Paul Tracy has come up into 3rd, and this is Emerson Fittipaldi, who was 4th, coming in to make his stop.
Now remember, these cars have computers, and most of them have telemetry, which means that they transmit the information on how much fuel is remaining to the pit, so the teams know when to call them in, even though sometimes we see them go too long.
Got Pruitt in.
had the fastest lap in Miami, lap 15 on those Firestones. Interesting.
Now DeFerrin in, Brian Herta in.
Looks like a traffic jam. They need a traffic policeman down there.
Matsushita heads out. This is still the 23rd lap of the leader. Routine service here from Chip Ganassi's team. The IndyCar officials look on. Danny Sullivan has made it in and out of the pits for his first stop of the day.
Sullivan has not been a happy camper so far this weekend. Troubles with the setup of the car. Michael on the outside there in heavy traffic.
That was Ribeiro that he had to move around on one side and Salazar on the other. Salazar just coming off of his pit stop.
And it was Salazar that Michael hit, or that hit Michael, however you want to put it, in Miami 2 weeks ago. So you can see he gave him a very wide berth there.
It's very difficult, Sam, to get two cars. There comes Michael in the pits now.
So Michael Andretti on the 24th lap heads in for his first stop of the day. He's led every lap to this point, Jack.
And Paul, this is all according to plan. They said they wanted to come in around lap 23. That's precisely what they're doing. Now, as they make their change of tires, they go to the harder compound tire, the same tire that Teo Fabi was involved with as he put on. Now, Michael is off and away, and right behind him comes young Paul Tracy. He will take on the harder tires as well. Here's Gary Gerould.
15 seconds on the stop for Team Green. Villeneuve back out. He did not pass Michael Andretti. They won it in the pits at Miami. This time they were quick, not quick enough to gain the lead.
So that lesson learned by the Newman Haas team, and Michael Andretti comes out ahead of Jacques Villeneuve. Paul Tracy roaring back into the action too. Stefan Johansson has moved up into 4th place with these stops. The early stop by Teo Fabi did not pay off. He's still in 5th place.
Tracy is driving a model race. He was careful in the early going. Now he's turned it on and is up to 3rd. Paul Tracy, I think we're going to hear a lot from this afternoon.
Special view as you take a look at Jacques Villeneuve's car. This is a replay of the refuelers cam as they pour that methanol fuel into the 40-gallon fuel tank on the number 27 car of Jacques Villeneuve, and he goes back into action. So that's what it looked like just a few seconds ago, but it wasn't quick enough to beat this man. Michael Andretti is still out in front, not far from the beach on the Gold Coast of Queensland, Australia. Back at Surfers Paradise, Australia, the green flag flies once again after a quick caution period to get Dean Hall's disabled car off the edge of the course. Teo Fabi screams around Jacques Villeneuve and continues his pursuit now of the leader of the race, Michael Andretti. At the same time, Paul Tracy is closing in on Jacques Villeneuve. There is that battle as Tracy is worrying at the back end of Villeneuve's car, and the rest of the field all bunched up together right now.
You know, when you watch the cars go into the chicanes like that, you see them 2 and 3 abreast sometimes. That's the time that a driver really wants to pass because everybody slows down. The problem is when you get there, it's way too narrow.
Michael Andretti, the leader of the race, for an update. Let's go to Jack Arute.
Well, Paul, the word is not good. During that pit stop for Michael Andretti, the fuel hose was not connected long enough to fill the tank. They have looked at the telemetry and they have ascertained that they are 12 gallons short of a full fuel load. That will change all of their pit stop strategy. They will have to change the time that they come in, the windows, and they'll be out of sequence with the rest of the leaders.
Not good news for Michael Andretti. Not good news for the Penske team as well. They've just displayed the black flag to the 5th place car of Emerson Fittipaldi for a pit speed violation. And that on the last round of stops, a black flag going to Gil DeFerrin for tapping one of the hoses in his pits on his way out of the pits. We ride with Robbie Gordon now.
Robbie Gordon is a master at braking very late for these tight turns, so watch this, particularly at the end of one of the big straights when he comes into a chicane. Very, very aggressive driver here.
Robbie Gordon in 9th place right now.
Yes, and he's been having plenty of problems here, Sam. He's not been very fast. He's in 9th place, but remember, you got a lot of guys who have black flags. Robbie's not had a good weekend. He's been very slow, had a lot of handling problems, not been happy with the car all weekend. Normally, this track, he's awesome fast, but they've not found the answer this trip.
Gordon's car, Menard, the Walker team moved over from the Lola to Menard's over the winter, powered by a Ford Cosworth.
You see him jumping these curves a little bit. There's no fast way through the chicanes unless you shortcut them a bit.
Robbie Gordon yesterday, if all three of us can recall, he really was jumping over the curb sometimes. All 4 wheels in the air.
Let's just ride with him a bit now. The gear changes are spectacular here.
Robbie just caught up a little bit in that chicane is the car of Mauricio Gugelmin. Gugelmin is having an excellent run, but it is not as fast as he might have hoped for, because during the first day of practice and qualifying here,
one car off, that's Zampedri. Quick spin. He should be able to get it back started and back on the course, but no, the officials aren't going to take a chance. Full course yellow once again, the fourth of the day.
The man we're looking at here, Paul Tracy.
Now they say they're withdrawing the yellow, but they've got a pace car on the course, so they can't very well do that. Johnny Rutherford driving the pace car.
I was going to say Tracy, who's at the top of your screen there, is suddenly extremely well placed. Michael Andretti having some trouble. Paul Tracy has worked his way up from 9th to 4th. The field is bunched. He's very, very fast now. I think we're going to see some major league driving from it.
All right, let me try. That's Fittipaldi answering the black flag. Let me try and make sense of this for you very quickly. They showed the full course yellow, but only for a few seconds, just enough for Johnny Rutherford to take out the PPG pace car. Then they decided it wasn't necessary, and so he was able to duck back in, and they were able to continue racing on the course. Now, let's go to the pits and have this report from Gary Gerould.
And with Christian Fittipaldi, Paul. Christian, gearbox problems have been a common theme. Did you have any inkling, or was this just one of those sudden things that happened and you had no control over?
No, it was one of those sudden things that just happened. And that was it. End of weekend.
It's awfully tough to have shown so much speed in both Miami and here, and then to be on the sidelines early. How difficult is this transition now, getting to these cars? How frustrating for you?
No, it's okay. I just think that we had everything up there for these both races, and I think that we were extremely unlucky. In Miami, like, we had a very good chance of winning, and then we had the stop and go, and I had a puncture. And over here, I had a problem in the engine yesterday. I couldn't qualify. That's why we were really much behind, but I just tried to fix the problem today in the race to try and see if we could go for the fastest lap, at least to get a point, to try and salvage something, but unfortunately we couldn't do it.
We appreciate your time. I tell you, when luck changes for this guy, look out. He's fast, Paul.
Well, you bet he is. Christian Fittipaldi, who is Robbie Gordon's teammate. Let's go to Jack Arute.
Well, Paul, that questionable full course yellow, was it or wasn't it? Well, in Paul Tracy's mind, in the Newman Haas crew's mind, it was. They radioed to Tracy full course yellow. He cracked the throttle, lost the position. Then all of a sudden, as he came across the start-finish line, there was no full course yellow. Had to get back on the throttle. It was a costly miscue.
Well, Paul Tracy making his move to try and recover that position now as Tracy moves alongside of Villeneuve and comes off the corner ahead. So Paul Tracy, it was a mistake, but one that he's already been beginning to make up for. Paul Tracy beginning now to chase the leaders of the race. F-16 Fighting Falcons from the Colorado Air National Guard, commanded by Major Keith Reimer. They've been here for 3 weeks in Australia. They provide some adversarial force for the Australian Air Force to practice against. You ride on board with Paul Tracy, who has really been on the fly the past couple laps, doing battle with Jacques Villeneuve, Stefan Johansson, and Scott Pruitt.
I referred in the beginning to the problems that Paul Tracy had 2 weeks ago at Miami. 4 crashes in practice, another one in the race. That in part has been traced to a brake problem, an ultra-sensitive brake system that was fitted to both the Newman Haas cars. Michael Andretti could live with that system. It was trouble for Paul Tracy. They changed that system. He has a less sensitive system here. He's been doing awfully well, and right now he is really the man to watch on the track.
The last time we saw Adrian Fernandez, he was parked against the wall. Now he's with Gary Gerould.
Paul, he's had to spend a good deal of time at the infield hospital. Adrian, what was the problem? Why have you been getting the medical treatment?
Well, it's when I hit the wall, the steering wheel jerked quickly to the right and hurt my thumb. It's not broken, but it's pretty swollen now, so they're trying just to give me some ice on it.
You had struggled to find speed yesterday. You seemed to find it. I know you